expands into plots and subplots and 50 characters, and then it just
You build a skyscraper when you write your stories. It's a skyscraper. Like, it's not a little house; it's a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. Like, you are who
Mm.
you are.
Yeah.
Our flaws are what make
Mm.
us the
Yeah.
creators we
Yeah,
are.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
and I say that actually in the best kind of ways, because it's
Mm.
what makes us unique. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's the important thing. So you
Yeah.
do poetry. So when you decide, so when did you make that decision to take the plunge into writing? Like, was it 10 years ago? Was it earlier?
Yeah. I think actually that idea was always there at the back of my mind, that someday when I'm more independent in multiple ways, I'm going to do it. I think that idea was always there at the back of my mind, and it just kept. I think when my father died in 2006 or 2005, one of those years, and that's the time when it really hit me, because he always used to say that he was into stock market and all that kind of stuff, which always keeps one busy. So he always used to say that someday I'm going to give up all this and I want to do the things which matter to me. And I had been hearing that from the time I was a child. He had said that so many times, but he never got around to doing it. And then he just died. He became old and he died. And I thought that, I mean, this is exactly what happens to people. They keep saying that someday I'll do this, and that someday never really comes. So it was, yeah. So I think
No, I
that's
mean,
when that idea kind of consolidated.
so I always kind of dreamed that, like, when I started the podcast, my goal was ultimately to turn this into a talk show.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, someday I'll get there. And it occurred to me about 6 months into being a freelancer, this is my niche. What am I doing? Right? Like, what am I doing? I should just embrace it in full and just see where it goes. And that's kind of what I've been doing.
Yeah.
No, someday is, I think the worst nightmare, the worst thought you can have in your head is that someday. Someday never comes. It's
True.
either it's now or it's never.
Yeah.
And I know I sound
Yes.
very
Yeah.
urgent when I say that, but it's the truth. Like, there's when I go to sleep, there's no guarantee I'm going to wake up tomorrow. There's none.
Oh,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
so
Oh, that someday. Someday is a weasel word.
no, it's an evil world. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
an evil word. Like,
Yeah.
what drives you now? What do you want to do now? That's really driving you. Because honestly, that's what matters. The rest of this, not much in this life matters. Like, honestly, not a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
People you love, doing things you love,
Yeah. Exactly.
not much else really.
Yeah. Absolutely. And before I took the plunge, I used to actually be afraid of dying. I had this fear of death. And the fear was always because, I'm not, there are things which I want to do and I've still not started doing them. And, what if I die before that? Now I don't have that fear. Like I've been doing what I love doing. And now I feel that even if I die tomorrow, it's not going to, I'm not going to have regrets. Like if somebody tells me that I'm going to die tomorrow. So it's a, obviously I have not reached the milestones where I want to reach, but at least I'm following the journey. So
Yeah, no, I'm see, I'm in a unique spot. Like, there are some things I still want to explore.
yeah.
You know, on the I'm being honest, on the romantic end of things, there's some things I definitely would like to explore more before it's all said and done. But honestly, in terms of everything else, I've done pretty much everything I've wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've never been crazy about the house, the car, the kids, and like I've never been crazy about that, and I've never really focused on it. Now that I've gotten a little older, some of that's appealing. I mean, but not for the reasons that a lot of people would imagine. It's not that I don't want necessarily a house, but I have to have a reason for it. So then I don't want a car. I just have to have a reason for it. Now I'm at the point now.
Yeah.
I see the reason for a car for me. I finally see it. So guess what? I'm going to do that this year. One of my other goals with this, what I'm doing here, I'm going to get myself a camera. I'm going to drop. Well, I have a camera. I just got to get it out of storage. I'm going to go grab it, and I'm going to go and I'm going to across the country, maybe even across the world, go meet people like yourself who are awesome, and then just chat like this, because these are the best kind of stories.
Yeah, and I think you'll be very good at it, because it is something which comes naturally to you, and it's from inside of you. It's not something which is superimposed.
No.
So exactly.